The vastness of the galaxy was quiet that cycle. Trade routes glowed faintly with the motion of freighters. Patrol fleets from dozens of species moved in steady formation, confident that peace held strong under the Council's dominion. Yet far beyond the edge of mapped space, silence stretched like a wound in the void. There an object drifted slowly, dark and immense, its form obscured by cold dust. The object was not a planet. It was not a station. It was a warship. The Sarath Coalition patrol fleet, consisting of 5 heavy cruisers, had been dispatched to investigate the anomaly. Their sensors had detected energy readings that matched no known profile. Commander Relin, a veteran of 20 campaigns, watched the main screen as the image of the structure came into view. At first, he thought it was debris. But then the light shifted, and the hull gleamed faintly under the distant starlight. The shape was angular, brutal, and ancient. No transponder codes, no response to hails. Magnify. The screen adjusted, showing surface plating thicker than any Sarath design could produce. Even the dreadnoughts of the Council would crumble under the strain of such density. The alien engineers in Relin's crew whispered nervously. "It's a derelict," said Officer Kell, his voice uncertain. "But, sir, the alloy composition, it's not in any galactic registry. It's as if it was forged from stellar material itself." Relin frowned. "Send a probe." Full spectrum scan. The probe launched silently. Its small engines flared as it approached the massive object. The sensor data began to flow across the bridge displays. The readings were erratic, shifting as if the very hull distorted space. "Report." Kell hesitated. "Sir, the readings are unstable. Electromagnetic fields at extreme intensity. There's a pulse inside the structure. Artificial, controlled." Relin's eyes narrowed. "Controlled by what?" Before Kell could answer, the probe's feed cut out. The signal vanished as if swallowed by the void. Every display on the bridge flickered for a single heartbeat. Then static filled the air. A moment later, the ship's sensors came back online, but now something else filled their screens. A code. Simple, ancient, and terrifying. It was Terran Standard. Relin had never seen human code before, but the database confirmed it instantly. The Council archives were clear. Humanity had been silent for centuries, withdrawn into their territory, sealed off from galactic communication. No one entered human space. No one dared. And yet, here was proof that a human ship, an active one, was beyond their border. The crew fell into silence. Only the hum of the ship's reactor filled the air. Relin took a steady breath. "Bring us closer. I want to see what this thing really is." The fleet advanced cautiously. As they neared the massive hull, their sensors finally began to penetrate the outer armor. What they saw froze the bridge crew in disbelief. The inner chambers were not derelict. They were alive with activity. Power signatures ran like arteries through the ship's body. A command core pulsed with rhythm, echoing faintly in the void. Kell swallowed hard. "Sir, it's waking up." Before Relin could issue an order, the object's hull shifted. Plates moved like muscle. Lines of light traced ancient runes along the surface. Then, for the first time in centuries, the name of the ship revealed itself across the armor. TSS Retribution, a human warship. Relin's translator processed the symbols, but the meaning carried weight beyond the words. Retribution. The humans had named it not for exploration, not for peace, but for vengeance. The bridge shook as the fleet's scanners were met with a feedback surge. Every sensor display went white. Then, one by one, the ships of the Sarath Coalition lost power. Their reactors shut down as if strangled by invisible hands. Kell tried to speak, but the comms emitted a single voice before he could. It was calm, deep, human. "Foreign vessels, you are within restricted Terran operational radius. Disengage or be neutralized." The transmission ended. No one moved. Relin forced his voice to steady. "Is this a recording?" Kell's eyes were wide. "Negative, sir. That was live." They tried to respond, but the transmission system was dead. Then slowly the massive human ship turned. Its engines, if they could be called that, lit with the fury of a contained star. The light spread like dawn across the dark sector. Relin had seen war. He had seen empires burn. But he had never felt true fear until that moment. The Retribution was not built like a ship. It was a fortress, a moving continent of steel. The Coalition fleet scrambled to retreat, but their engines would not ignite. The human ship's energy field held them frozen. The smaller vessels began to overheat, their systems collapsing under invisible pressure. Sir, Kel gasped. Our reactor's collapsing. It's like the power's being pulled away from us. Then the human ship transmitted again. Attempted scan of Terran warship detected. Unauthorized intrusion logged. Fleet designation. Hostile reconnaissance. Penalty demonstration strike, Reland shouted. Shields! But it was useless. The Retribution didn't fire a visible weapon. It simply emitted a pulse. A single wave that rippled through space. In seconds, every cruiser around them went silent. No explosions, no wreckage, just drifting hulks. Systems gutted, crews stunned but alive. It was precision beyond understanding. Only Reland's flagship remained functional, held in place by an unseen force. The human voice returned. You have seen what you should not have seen. You will deliver this message to your council. Reland's throat tightened. What message? The voice was steady, emotionless. Humanity does not sleep. We remember. The wars, the betrayals, the treaties broken under false peace. You believed us gone. You believed the Sol system silent. You were wrong. The lights across the Retribution's hull shifted, patterns flowing like a living network. The voice continued. Tell them. Humanity watches. The next intrusion will not end with silence. It will end with extinction. Then the connection cut. The gravitational lock released. Reland's ship spun free as the Retribution turned away, vanishing into the void with impossible speed. For hours, the crew sat in stunned quiet. When the systems finally stabilized, they transmitted the logs back to the Serath command. Within a day, the entire coalition was in uproar. Within a week, the Galactic Council convened. Every major species sent delegates. Fear rippled through the great halls as Reland's testimony played on the central display. The holographic image of the Retribution filled the chamber, vast and terrible. Some called it a bluff. Others called it prophecy. The council debated endlessly, but none could deny the data. The ship's power readings were beyond any known technology. It bent the fabric of reality as if it were pliable metal. Admiral Theron of the Vunari Defense League stood before the assembly. We cannot allow humanity to re-emerge unchecked. If this vessel is active, there may be more. We must prepare. The Speaker of the Council shook his head. Prepare for what? They did not destroy the fleet. They merely demonstrated control. Theron slammed his hand on the table. Control is domination. If they wished to, they could have erased those ships from existence. They didn't because they wanted us to be afraid. And they succeeded. Reports began flooding in. Distant sensors on the galactic rim detected faint energy signatures. Massive, coordinated, precise. Entire sectors were going dark. In the weeks that followed, explorers whispered of silent ships moving through the void. No transponders, no communication, only shadows passing through the dark. Wherever they went, unauthorized outposts vanished. Yet there were never bodies, never wreckage, only silence. The Council sent reconnaissance drones to the edge of Terran space. None returned. Then came the second message. A transmission appeared simultaneously across 1,000 networks, encoded in every known language. The sender identified itself as the Terran Strategic Command. Its words were brief. We warned you once. The next day, an entire armada belonging to the Kareth Dominion vanished from the galactic map. No debris, no trace, only a region of space now empty and quiet. The Council panicked. Whispers spread through the empires. Myths of human vengeance resurfaced, stories once dismissed as legend. The old wars came to mind, when humans had stood alone against entire coalitions and won through will and rage. The Serath archives revealed fragments of those conflicts. Back then, humanity's ships were fewer, but each one fought like a world unto itself. The Retribution was said to be the last of a class known as Titan warships, built when humanity swore never to bow again. Now, it had returned. Reland found himself summoned once more. The Council demanded he lead another mission, this time under a united fleet of 200 ships to make contact again, to prove humanity could be reasoned with. But deep down, Reland knew better. He had seen the eyes of that machine, the will behind its voice. It was not a weapon of diplomacy. It was a warning that humanity's patience had limits. The fleet gathered near the border of Terran space. The void there shimmered like a mirage, filled with strange gravitational currents. As the ships crossed the invisible line, their sensors flared with interference. Then came the voice again. This is Terran Command. You were warned. Before anyone could respond, the darkness unfolded. Hundreds of ships emerged. Not one, not 10, but hundreds, each larger than any dreadnought in the fleet. Their hulls glowed faintly, bearing the marks of long-forgotten wars. The lead vessel dwarfed them all. It was the Retribution. For a moment there was silence. Then the human transmission continued. You send fleets to our borders to test our resolve. You mistake restraint for weakness. We will correct,